So I made no price prediction in 2023. When the Bitcoin ETF came out, and I guess Bitcoin was like 3540 at the beginning of the year, I said, it's going to 100,000. And people scoffed at me and said, well, you made that prediction already, dummy, and it didn't happen. And I said, yeah, I got it wrong because I thought the SEC chairman was going to apply the law the way the law was written. I didn't think he was going to be arbitrary and capricious in the application and administration of the law. In fact, that's exactly what the court said in the ruling. Okay, so now you get the thing approved. It's at 100,000. There's going to be a supply shock, Ryan. And so there's no reason why this can't trade to 200,000 over the next 12 months.
In a recent interview, Anthony Scaramucci, founder of Skybridge Capital and a prominent voice in the cryptocurrency space, reflected on his previous Bitcoin predictions from 2021. Back then, Scaramucci boldly forecasted that Bitcoin would reach $100,000 by the end of 2022, a prediction that fell short due to regulatory delays. Acknowledging his mistake, he explained that he underestimated the SEC's reluctance to approve Bitcoin ETF. However, with the SEC now aligning more closely with market expectations, Scaramucci believes the stage is set for a significant price surge. He points to the potential for a supply shock and asserts that Bitcoin could realistically climb to $200,000 within the next year. His renewed confidence highlights the evolving landscape of cryptocurrency adoption, with clearer regulatory frameworks and growing institutional involvement. As these dynamics unfold, Bitcoin's trajectory could reshape how value is perceived in modern finance.
Hi guys, hope to see you guys at Dubai Token 2049. We have exclusive 10% off the limited super early bird tickets. Click the link below. This pass will grant you access to speaking sessions, networking app, exhibition hall, daily networking drinks, and also included breakfast, lunch, and coffee breaks, all included the package. I love to see everyone there. Peace out.
It's funny, Trump is not that we're talking about astrology on your podcast, but Trump is a Gemini, right? So he's a twin. He's got two people in one body, right? He's got the evil bad twin, and then he's got the good twin, right? And so you get a mixed bag with the guy. And the stuff coming out on crypto is, I think, fantastic. I think you learn when you do these things. When I was on his transition team in 2016, you learn that personnel is policy. And so Besant, positive on crypto, understands it, wants us to be a force in crypto. Atkins, positive on crypto, understands the libertarian concepts of it, wants the United States to fairly regulate crypto. Howard Lutnick, he told Anthony Pompliano he's got hundreds of millions of dollars of Bitcoin. I guess he's going to have to put that in a blind trust at this point, but he's Secretary of Commerce, loves crypto. So personnel being policy, and those are just some of them. I mean, there's a whole list of others. What about David Sachs? David Sachs is going to go be the quarterback inside the White House to help run AI and crypto strategy. Let's just, for the sake of this argument, let's say that it is digital gold to these people. And if we're at that point and we're in a modern society and Trump wants to make a statement, and we believe, rightly or wrongly, that the Chinese are going to move to buy Bitcoin, and they're going to move to make it a strategic reserve asset for the Chinese economy and the Chinese government. And if that's the case, what are we talking about? We're talking about $70, $80 billion. To put it in perspective, we've got a $6 trillion budget. So you're talking about 1% of it, 1.5% of the budget to buy Bitcoin, but we're also talking about it over 5 years. So you're talking about 30 basis points of the budget over 5 years, which could emotionally strengthen the dollar and could put the United States on better competitive footing, or at least tie the United States with other Western nations. Said differently, if you put me in that seat, forget about the fact that I own Bitcoin. If you put me in that seat and said, is it in the United States' national interest to have a strategic reserve in Bitcoin? I would say yes. And then if you said to me, why? I would say 3 reasons. Number one, I do believe it's digital gold. And I think the future is changing, and I would want to have it on our balance sheet like we do gold. Even if you said I had to sell $100 billion of gold and replace it with $100 billion of Bitcoin. Number two, your generation, forget about me, I'm an old fart, but you're a young man. Your generation is going to live further and deeper in the digital world than me. I think China is already acquiring it.
Probably.
Yeah,
I mean,
I think they're already acquiring it because they're like, holy, blank. Trump is going to be long and pro Bitcoin. We kicked all the Bitcoiners out of this country. And again, more evidence about the strength and resiliency of Bitcoin. They kicked all the Bitcoiners out of the country, and 10% of the mining, Ryan, still happens in China. So to me, I don't know. I mean, look, this is the stuff I like about Trump, right? Like I said, you have a good twin and you have a bad twin in there. And the good twin is like, yeah, we're going to have a muscular defense and we're going to have a muscular national economic story. And Bitcoin could be a very big part of that for people. Also, remember, you're spending globally $7 trillion on verification of transactions. And that's everything from accountants and lawyers and wire fees, credit card fees. I could take you through the whole verification economy. It's $7 trillion. If you're telling me over the blockchain that you and I can trade and transact with each other and have the network itself, the blockchain, the technology, verify the transaction for us in a permissionless and let's call it trustless way, because the network is something we both trust, it's going to unleash trillions of dollars of capital that can get deployed into more economic innovation. And so the world is changing, and the world is changing for the better. There was a group of politicians in the United States that did not want to embrace and accept that change. And they got their asses kicked in 2024. They got their asses handed to them. And so if Brian Armstrong's saying, hey, fellas, you want to keep this up? We're going to hand you your asses again in 26 and in 28. And by the way, do the math. It's a very tight country, Ryan. We're a 50-50 country. If you have 60 million people that own a cryptocurrency in this country, let's say 3% of them are single issue voters. And that's a very small number. That's 1.8 million people. That could swing a Congress. It could swing the House of Representatives. It swung the presidential election. So are you allowed to curse on this podcast?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, fuck around and find out. Fuck around. Go ahead.
They already did.
Keep the nonsense up with all the stupidity, and let's see where it goes for you.
Anthony Scaramucci highlights Bitcoin's transformative potential, comparing it to digital gold and advocating for its inclusion in U.S. reserves to remain competitive amid China's growing acquisitions. He emphasizes the efficiency of blockchain technology, pointing out its ability to replace the $7 trillion spent annually on transaction verification, unlocking trillions in potential for innovation. Drawing parallels to the Internet revolution, Scaramucci predicts that blockchain will reshape global economies. He also cautions policymakers about crypto's political influence, as millions of American voters are increasingly demanding policies that support decentralized finance and digital transformation. Scaramucci delves deeper into Bitcoin's potential, stressing the importance of understanding and patience when investing in the cryptocurrency. Reflecting on his own journey, from initial skepticism to in-depth research, he explains how education about Bitcoin often turns skeptics into believers. He underscores Bitcoin's long-term value, likening it to pioneering investments like Apple and Amazon. He advises investors to buy, hold, and resist emotional reactions to short-term price fluctuations. For Scaramucci, Bitcoin represents unmatched potential for financial growth and innovation. Let's continue watching more from the interview.
I have yet to meet a person of above average intelligence that does the homework on Bitcoin that doesn't go towards Bitcoin. I have yet to meet the person. I did 25 hours of homework on Bitcoin. I read the white paper. I talked to hundreds of people on Wall Street. 25 hours on Bitcoin. I hate Bitcoin. I don't want to go anywhere near it. Now, one person, Stan Druckenmiller, Paul Tudor Jones, Larry Fink himself, Abigail Johnson, do the homework on Bitcoin, go towards Bitcoin. I hated Bitcoin. You know who else hated Bitcoin? Michael Saylor. But he did.
Right.
Ask him. Get him on the podcast. He'll say, oh, it's a fad, it's passé, it's ridiculous. He didn't understand it. I hated it. Why did I hate it? Didn't understand it. Michael Saylor did the homework, and then when Michael Saylor got done doing the homework, he couldn't sleep. Couldn't sleep. He said, Anthony, I couldn't sleep. Once I figured out what Bitcoin was, it's like, how am I going to buy enough of this network? How am I going to do it? Okay. And I said to him, because I got there after him, I said the same thing. Now, I've done in the similar way what Saylor has done, just smaller. Donald Trump in 2018 or 2019, you can find it, Ryan. President Donald Trump as president, I hate Bitcoin.
No, I
Bitcoin's this,
remember. I
Bitcoin is
remember
that.
when
Okay.
this tweet dropped.
Okay, all right. So I'm not making it up. And then he got educated on it. And then he said, wait a minute, I now understand it. I want to be a Bitcoin president. You got to give him credit for that. Okay, I'm a balls and strikes person. I told people what I didn't like about him, the bad twin and the good twin. Okay, and so he's in. So I'm telling you, on the margin, there's going to be a legion of people this year that do that homework and get long Bitcoin. I think this is an $18 trillion asset. If it takes 10 years, so what? If I told you that you could hold this asset, it's 100,000 right now, and at the end of 10 years, it'll be worth $1 million. Go back and look at Apple, NVIDIA over the last 10 years and say to yourself, okay, we have something that's very obvious. It's right in front of us. And there are people that said, I can't buy Apple, it's too expensive, it went up 10x. I can't buy NVIDIA, it's a fad stock, it went up 15x. I can't buy Amazon. And they missed it. I'm not missing Bitcoin. And by the way, when I bought it, my clients, people wanted to fire me. You want to hear the story? I buy it in October of 2020. It goes from 17,000 to 69,000. My clients are calling me, telling me that I'm a visionary and I'm a genius. We go from 69,000. We flash crashed. I think the low print was like 12,000. I don't know if it was like overnight. It was, remember, so let's call it 15,000. We went from 69,000 to 15,000 in 22. And I had clients calling me, the very same clients called me a genius. You're an imbecile, and I'm selling out my position. Okay. First of all, I wasn't a genius. I'm not an imbecile, but I did see something. And now you go from 16,000 to 100,000. Other people now see it. And so I don't want my clients to miss it. And I don't want your podcast listeners to miss it. So that's why I wrote a book about it.
Our podcast listeners are all in, Anthony. Let me tell you, this is kind of
okay. Well, I want them to stay in.
Oh yeah,
because and I know Bitcoin could trade to 75,000. We had a move from 70 to 50,000 recently, before the election. So yes, it could go down from here. I'm not saying it's going to go straight up. Nothing goes straight up. Just don't sell it. I have gotten it wrong forever. I said at the end of 2021, Bitcoin would be 100,000 at the end of 2022. I got my ass kicked. So I made no price prediction in 2023. When the Bitcoin ETF came out, and I guess Bitcoin was like 3540 at the beginning of the year, I said it's going to 100,000. And people scoffed at me and said, well, you made that prediction already, dummy, and it didn't happen. And I said, yeah, I got it wrong because I thought the SEC chairman was going to apply the law the way the law was written. I didn't think he was going to be arbitrary and capricious in the application and administration of the law. In fact, that's exactly what the court said in the ruling. Okay, so now you get the thing approved. It's at 100,000. There's going to be a supply shock, Ryan. And so there's no reason why this can't trade to 200,000 over the next 12 months.
What are you worried about?
I'm going to tell you what I'm worried about. You ready? I can't find anything to worry about. And that's what I'm really worried about.
Not recession, not in the broader macro economy?
Well, no, I think a recession would probably help Bitcoin. I think it'd be a flight to safety to Bitcoin. And so I would just tell people, live below your means, buy the Bitcoin, shut it off. Fred Krueger, I think his name is, he had a great line he says, there are two types of people. There are those that check their Bitcoin price every 15 seconds. And there are those that lie and say they don't check their Bitcoin price every 15 seconds, but check their Bitcoin. But even if you're checking it every 15 seconds, and I appreciate that, don't sell it. Lock it up. Keep your brain away from Bitcoin. The emotional oscillation of your brain that could be affected by Bitcoin's prices. That would be my message to people, because there is something out there that you and I don't know that could happen that upsets price near term, but I don't think it knocks off the 10-year trajectory.
Anthony Scaramucci's recent comments on Bitcoin and its transformative potential in modern finance contribute to a broader narrative reshaping the cryptocurrency space. The strong performance of Bitcoin ETFs, such as BlackRock's iShares Bitcoin Trust, highlights how traditional financial institutions are increasingly adopting crypto. The rapid growth of these ETFs, reaching $50 billion in assets under management in just 228 days, reinforces Bitcoin's emerging status as a legitimate asset class and a hedge against inflation. Scaramucci's call for patience and understanding resonates with current market trends, where profit-taking and tax loss harvesting have caused temporary price fluctuations. Yet, institutional interest remains robust, with experts predicting that Bitcoin ETFs will expedite adoption by simplifying access for both individual and corporate investors. As Scaramucci states, understanding Bitcoin's long-term value is crucial, as it is positioned to redefine global finance in much the same way companies like Apple and Amazon did during their early growth phases. With Bitcoin aiming to regain the $100,000 mark, many now see it as digital gold, a scarce, decentralized asset with the potential to become a cornerstone of national reserve. Scaramucci's message is clear. While short-term volatility is inevitable, Bitcoin's trajectory over the next decade holds the promise of unparalleled financial innovation and stability, making it a crucial consideration for forward-thinking investors. As we conclude, do you still believe Bitcoin is a long-term store of value and a hedge against inflation? Share your thoughts in the comments below. For more Daily Dose Crypto news, check out these 2 awesome videos on your screen. Click now and we will see you on the next video.